Tick, tick, it's time to talk. Thanks, Facebook, for coming on. And TikTok, thanks for coming on. And Heidi from overseas, you have to hold on, okay? 1 second, everyone. Just give me 1 second. Hi, Heidi.
Okay. Hi, Daryl. How are you?
Good. I just went live. And if you want to hang on, I've got to answer some questions here. And then as soon as I'm done, we'll come to you, right?
Okay, no problem.
Okay, then just hang tight, okay?
All right.
All right, love. I'll be right back. Okay, so anyway, so what we're here for is we're going to answer a few questions that came in from TikTok. Jeffrey, want to do it?
Yeah, the community has 6 questions for you. So we're going to start with the first one. If not root canal, then what does one do instead?
So if somebody doesn't get a root canal, what should they do instead? Well, first off, most people don't understand that there's no such thing as a healthy root canal. Nobody understands that there's been major studies done to prove this, especially when it comes to you women. So it's not that men are not affected, okay, because they are. I shouldn't say affected, I should say infected, because there's no such thing as a healthy root canal, and you better get that. And a dentist is going to tell you that there is such a thing as a healthy root canal. And then also a dentist is going to fight with you and not want to take it out because guess what? He has a stranglehold around his neck, and that's called the Dental Association, that says, guess what? Don't be taking out root canals because then they'll know they're not good for them. Well, let me tell you something right now. There is no such thing as a root canal, and it's not a canal because at least a canal flows. Oh, you want to go down the canal? Well, guess what? This canal is blocked up and it creates infection, and that just drips slowly into your system. Whether you believe this or not doesn't really matter, but I will tell you something right now. And we know this in the health field, but mainly in the cancer field. And guess what? I could ask 100 women, okay, 100 women that had breast cancer, and guess what? Out of those 100 women that had breast cancer, it's an average of 50 of them will have a root canal on the same side as the breast that has the inflammation, or otherwise known as stage 4 cancer, or stage 3 cancer, stage 2 cancer, which is actually stage 1 inflammation, 2 inflammation, 3 inflammation, 4 inflammation, but that's the way they do it. Now, I would never get a root canal. And if I had a root canal, I'd want to take it out. And if it's so easy to take out, why do they want to knock you out? Because it's a hard situation to get it out. That's the first thing. Next thing is this. If I was going to get a root canal out, I would want to be on Merigen. This isn't a pitch for me. I'd want to be on Merigen because Merigen will help to what? It'll help to fill in the bone within weeks. You heard what I said. Merigen and Dentagen. I'd also want to clap with a clapper my jaw because you have stem cells in your jaw that will help to bring the calcium back faster. And I'd also take IGF 300,000 because it lays the bone matrix down even faster. You know how many people say, oh, wow, I'm probably going to have to get a bone graft. You don't need a bone graft if you take Merigen and Dentagen and you do it properly. Now, right off the bat, so if I can't have a root canal, what can I have? Well, the reality is, they'll even want to do root canals on your back molars. You know, you can get rid of a back molar without it affecting how you're going to chew your food. So if it can't be seen, I get it. But if it's going to be seen, you can put a post in, and then you can put in a ceramic, non-toxic tooth. Now, that's a lot better way to go. Now, anybody who decided to do these root canals is a sick person. The person who decided or created how to do a root canal is a sick person. Because there's enough study out there and enough science to prove it, that they can cause heart problems, they can cause brain problems, they can cause infection into the body. But guess what? 1 out of 2 women asked, okay, that have breast cancer, okay, have a root canal on that same side of the body. So there's your big problem right there. And let me just say one other thing, and I'm going to shut this sucker down. Why would anybody go and get a silver filling when a silver filling is 47% mercury? And how many people know that just in a few days of getting a silver filling, which is 47% mercury, that just within a few days, you have already gotten your supply of what they believe to be too much toxic mercury for a year in a few days. And that's continually going into your mouth. As far as I'm concerned, dentists, okay, they are killing people. And understand something. The day that you want to stand up for yourself and you're going to go, no, you're not putting fluoride in my child's mouth. I'm not gargling with fluoride. Why don't you check what fluoride does? Do you know what it does? It doesn't harden your teeth. There was one study done by an aluminum company that said that fluoride hardens the teeth. One study. Next thing is this, okay? The day that we love, honor, and respect ourselves, then we will question every so-called professional. Next.
I have uterine fibroids. I don't want surgery. What do you recommend?
Okay, well, here's the deal. Once you have a fibroid, okay, once you have a fibroid, let's realize what that is. Every issue in the tissue will become scar tissue and displace calcium, okay? Those are the two things that get caught down there. Now understand this, you would never have a fibroid, okay, unless you needed a storage shed for emotional and physical toxins. Let's get that perfectly clear. Now, why would you have, did you say a uterine fibroid? Well, guess what? Why would you have a uterine fibroid? Oh, well, let me just say this. Was somebody sexually abused? Chances are somebody was sexually abused. Because where are you going to store that sexual toxic emotion but in a fibroid? Okay? What if somebody felt like they weren't pretty? What if somebody couldn't have or give birth, okay, but maybe their fallopian tubes had scar tissue in them? What if they felt incompetent? Well, we got to store that emotion somewhere. But on a physical level, let's put this really to where it needs to be. There isn't a woman alive at the age of 25 or 30 that doesn't already have endometriosis. Okay, that means scar tissue throughout her pelvis, because women are pooping in their pelvis because they can't let go emotionally of a lot of toxic things. And guess what? How many women would you say are in really great shape? Okay, how many women are in really great shape? Do you know how many women are having pelvic problems where their uterus is falling out? 49% of all women are dripping urine all day long in their panties because of so much pelvic inflammation and infection. If I had a fibroid tumor, there's only one way around this, and I'll tell you what it is. It's getting on the perfect day diet and then getting on an advanced water fast. Because if you do that, you're going to release stem cells and you're going to cause the body to go into autophagy and it will start to eat up the fibroid. What else would you do? Well, what if you did vaginal infusion? Oh, let me think. Where's the fibroid? Where's a uterine fibroid? I don't know. Oh, it's in my vagina. Okay, that's right. So now what we're going to do is a vaginal infusion, which means that we are going to take the highest frequency nutraceuticals and we're going to put it into our vagina, not one, but maybe 2 or maybe 3 times a day, and we're going to let it soak in there. And we're going to create a whole tissue different environment. What else are we going to do? Well, we could also order 250 milligram CBD suppositories from us and put it into the vagina, which we know that reduces inflammation and pain. And there's been studies to prove that even a CBD suppository of 250 milligrams can affect brain cancer. I'm not the one that did it. This is an actual study that was done. So what do you think if we actually put it right in the vaginal canal? Now, what if we did something else? What if we actually taught this person to actually have 2 to 3 good bowel movements a day so they won't be pooping in their pelvis because you didn't get the uterine fibroid because you weren't pooping in your pelvis. That's why you have the uterine fibroid. Because guess what happened? You got leaky gut. It wasn't leaky gut, it was leaky large intestine. The large intestine got pinholes in it because of fungus, because of candida, because of antibiotics. That's the truth. And then what happens? We keep on pooping in the pelvic bowl. Infection creates what? Inflammation. Inflammation creates scar tissue formation. Okay, and then guess what? Around the uterus, it starts to thicken with scar tissue until a ball starts to grow around it because it's trying to protect it from becoming cancerous. So now you've got a uterine fibroid. But it's not good enough to do the vaginal infusion, to do the colon cleansing with daily cleansing tea and black gold, or to do the perfect day diet and start eating a high vibrational diet. Guess what? Or the vaginal infusion. What else do you got to do? Well, I'm going to tell you something. Give me a woman with a fibroid the size of an orange, and give me 30 minutes. And you want to test me? Come and test me. come and test me and I'll do it for free. I'll go in there, we'll show the diameter of the fibroid, we'll measure it, and in 30 minutes of me doing Wolf non-surgical, I will reduce the size of that fibroid by 30 to 40%. It's not called a miracle, it's called real therapy. And that's the deal. And what's out there right now, body workers don't know how to do this because they don't think about scar tissue, okay, at all. They just think about scar tissue from surgery maybe. But guess what? It's the scar tissue that we create because we are emotionally toxic and physically toxic. End of story.
Next question, Daryl. My daughter has had severe constipation since she was born.
No, her daughter was constipated when she was in her mother's tummy because the mother can only give what she is. And the mother was eating cheese, milk, dairy, yogurt, too much bread. The mother, okay, maybe wasn't in a great relationship, so she couldn't let go. And if you can't let go on an emotional level, you can't let go on a physical level. And guess what? Whatever you are, you pass on. And understand something. Maybe a baby doesn't understand English, but they understand frequency because they are little spirit beings, right? And the reality is, why would the daughter's bowel movement be different even coming out of the womb? She'd still be constipated because the daughter is going to be fed like the mother fed herself. So the reality is let's get rid of the dairy, let's get rid of the flour products, let's maybe start some food combining proper. And let's get on some structured water that actually hydrates and have the little girl take warm water. But guess what? This little girl, if she got on daily cleansing tea and black gold, and her mother were to actually make maybe 2 blender drinks out of fresh berries, oat milk, and put some black gold into that, this little girl wouldn't have constipation. And maybe, guess what? Guess what? You don't think that we pass on our belief systems? Mommy couldn't let go. Maybe the baby can't let go. Okay, but the reality is does the mother even understand potty training 101? Does she even know what a good bowel movement looks like? How about getting a perfect day consultation, Mom? And I guarantee you, when you get the perfect day manual, which is 380 pages, it has everything in it. What this emotion causes, what this food causes, and we show you how to turn around everything from constipation to stage 4 inflammation. And understand you can do this, Mom. They gave you a manual that was corrupted, so it's not your fault, Mom. You're doing the best that you can like every other mother. And you've all been ruled, schooled, and fooled, moms.
Next question. Do you think it's possible to heal your own fistula without surgery?
Well, first of all, what's a fistula? Do you know how much, okay, so here's the deal. Do you know how much constipation that you have at the back door? So the mouth is the front door, the rectum is the back door, and just maybe about 2 to 3 inches just before the rectum, guess what? She's been holding on, okay? Now, whether or not she was drinking enough water, whether or not it was warm to hot water would really help. If it was structured water, it hydrates 1,000% better. If she was on whole plant-based foods, that would be at the highest vibration level that you could put in. Lots of fiber, lots of enzymes, lots of minerals, okay? And what about getting rid of all the chemicals and all the dehydration that these chemicals cause? And then food combining properly. But do you want to know what a fistula is? Okay? All right. First of all, you usually get a fissure. A fissure is like a little crack. Now, why do you get a little crack in your anus just before your anus? Well, do you know why you get a little crack just before your anus? Well, because guess what? The constipated waste is sitting there, and believe it or not, did you ever go to a farm barnyard and you see a manure pile? If you look in the bottom where the lowest part of the manure pile is, you'll see this wet liquid coming out. And that's the ammonia coming out. And it is so acidic. So her bowel, her fecal matter was rotting inside of her, creating ammonia. And ammonia can take wax off the floor. It can burn things off. So it's actually the ammonia will dry out the inside of the last part of the sigmoid rectum area. Okay, rectum almost going to kill her. And what's going to happen, it creates the crack. Then guess what? Little pieces of fecal matter will actually get caught in the crack. And guess what? Over the days, over the months, over the years, that fecal matter acid actually eats a hole. Now, this beautiful woman with the fistula, guess what? Do you want to know how many women are pooping in their vagina? They go to wipe their vagina and it's brown and it smells like poo. And that's because of that fistula is a little hole that is like a little tunnel that's allowing you to poo into your vagina. Haha, you want to talk about ovarian cysts? You want to talk about infertility? Do you want to talk about endometriosis? Do you want to talk about bladder infections? Do you want to talk about many different types of cancers now that are going to happen in the pelvis? Here's the deal. I wouldn't just be doing and looking after fixing the fistula. I would be doing vaginal infusions. Go into my do-it-yourself guide or get a perfect day consultation from us and find out how to do a vaginal infusion because you're going to need to heal your vaginal canal. Your rectum is a lot stronger area, okay? It can take a beating. I mean, it can take that waste material. You can't be pooping in your vagina. So what we want to do is order what's called CBD bullets and put a CBD bullet up there, and you could do that maybe 1 or even 3 times a day. Do you understand? And if you do that, plus you take the daily cleansing tea and the black gold, all right, you can also do the vaginal infusion in the rectum as well. I don't care. I've had women where their uteruses were falling out of their vaginas because of a fistula that was pooping into vaginal canal, and the uterus was sticking out by an inch, okay, where we actually got it to be toned back up to come back up. See, here's the problem. With women, their pelvic floor is rotting out. And this is why we put together a course that's called Pelvic Restoration and Disease Management. It's 3 days. We will be doing that course here in Extapa in January and in February, and we're also going to do it on Zoom. And if a woman takes this 3-day course, she's never going to have pelvic problems again. And she's going to be able to get rid of her emotional issues in her tissues in her pelvis, okay, which are usually sexual because women are made to feel dirty. You know, a man can go to bed with 1,000 women and everybody's going, hey, five, high five. And then a woman, she gets beat down because of, well, anyways, the world is not fair. I get it. But the reality is this. There's nothing that is not reversible. Everything's reversible. But if you want to go to the medical system, it won't be reversible. And understand that, because that's the chokehold that they have on our children and ourselves.
Next question. Can you share some insight about allergies and immunity? My daughter has hay fever, and I don't believe in synthetic medicine.
I believe that hay fever is mainly fear. And hay fever is she's unable to break down the toxins. A lot of times with hay fever, there's a lung problem. But if you take a look, I guarantee you that this girl with hay fever, she has a bowel problem. I don't know what her age is, but guess what? You get her bowel moving, okay, and you get the flow going. Nobody understands the power of the large intestine. It is the holy grail. It is the immune system. It is the immune system for the body. 85% of your immune system lives in your large intestine. Bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know that when your bacteria become really toxic, that's when you get allergies, and that's when you get allergies and you get asthma. You didn't know that, did you? Okay, you didn't know that you usually don't get a lung problem or a breathing problem or an environmental problem when you're young unless you have a bowel problem. And that's the God's truth. Now, if she has allergies, let's clean up her lungs too. So if she has allergies, let's get her to use infinite iodine, okay, where you take 1 part infinite iodine and you put in 3 parts distilled water. You can see it coming out right here. And then get her to do this, and then get her nebulizing just like people that are addicted to vaping. So, and let's clean out her lungs, but just know this, a young girl, it's a young girl, right?
Didn't say. I thought you said
My daughter, yeah, a young girl. Well, probably, well, maybe not. But the reality is you always got to go to the bowels, and there's always problem in the cecum, which sits on the right side just above the right hip. And guess what? Did you get your daughter off of dairy? Did you get your daughter off a lot of flour products and sugar products? Okay. What kind of junk do you give your daughter and you just think it's normal? And have you taken a look at your daughter's bowels? I mean, everyone should be having 2 to 3 bowel movements a day. And if you get a Perfect Day consult, we'll give you a 300-page manual. It's right here. Look at this. I will put my reputation on the line that there's not a better guide. Every mother, every father, every family needs this. And if you get a consultation with us, excuse me, if you get a consultation with us, a Perfect Day consultation, you get it in a PDF. And if you want to buy the book for cost, we'll ship it to you. Everything that you want to know, you will outdo. I don't care. I'll put this on the line. Any naturopathic doctor, you will know more with this book than him or her. And as far as a medical doctor goes, okay, well, please. You need to become your own practitioner. But the reality is you get this little girl's bowels cleaned up, you get her drinking enough water, because you better put water in the river, okay? And it better be structured water. And get her on the daily cleansing tea in black gold. And then I said, start doing some nebulizing. Okay, that's it. Unless you have any other questions, then let me know. One more?
One last question from our community here.
Okay.
Is there something that you would recommend for someone who's had all their colon removed and is still having issues?
Well, first of all, I'm just going to say this. Can we have it a little quieter, please? Okay. So somebody who has had their colon removed and they're still having issues. Well, let me try to just focus here for a second. I'd like to get a handle on this. So you just cut out the last 5 to 7 feet of your large intestine, which is 85% of your immune system. That's not me saying it. That's the Royal Society of Medicine saying that 85% of your immune system is your large intestine, and that it is responsible for 85 to 90% of all diseases when it becomes dysfunctional. So the reality is now this person got their large intestine cut out. And do you know how many people get their large intestine cut out and they never needed to? Welcome to the chop shop. Understand, why are you doing these life-threatening things when your life isn't being threatened? I'll tell you something, because you've been terrorized. But here's the deal. If that person wants to ever have any kind of life, because the large intestine creates the good bacteria that is 85% of your immune system, seriously? What are we thinking here? Okay, so now that means that that person, all the foodstuffs they have, it all comes out like liquid. There's no bowel movement. It's coming into a bag, okay, a colostomy bag. And the reality is, whether you believe it or not, your large intestine is not a garbage can. It is the garden of your body. So when you have your large intestine, you are creating good bacteria, and good bacteria are the smartest, most intelligent part of a human being. You only have 50 trillion cells. You've got 700 trillion bacteria that lived in there that gave you your immune system. Hello? You still need to get and do what we call black gold so that you can go in and maintain the other 22 feet, other 20 feet called your small intestine, which you better protect. And understand something, if you got your large intestine cut out, if you're not on a Perfect Day diet, like I'm talking about whole plant-based foods, like whole grains, ancient grains, like avocado, and no taco chips, but veggie sticks for the guacamole. You can't drink alcohol, and if you do, you know, you have to run it through a structure unit so you can protect your liver against it, because you're going to be just knocking the crap out of yourself. And guess what? You don't want a food combine? Well, then everything's just going to rot inside of you. Okay, so you got to food combine properly. You got to eat live foods. You got to eat whole foods. The reality is the more man touches a food, the less you can eat it now. You know what people will say to me? Dr. Wolf, I don't know what happened. You know what? I used to be able to eat a whole pizza. Last night, I ate 2 pieces of pizza. I was sick all night. And I said, how old are you? Well, I'm just 40. And I said, yeah, you've destroyed your digestive tract. Okay, remember something. I can remember when I was in my 20s, I could eat a large pizza, triple cheese. Okay, I couldn't eat a regular pizza with cheese on it. I mean, pizza is the most destructive food you can eat. We know that dairy, okay, that cheese, okay, is addictive like cocaine on the brain. We know that that dairy is the leading cause of all foods of cancer in the human body. And guess what? They're shoving it down our throats. Okay? So understand this. If you don't want to get rid of all your inflammatory foods and eat high vibrational foods and high vibrational drink, you just got rid of 85% of your immune system. You know, when they say that gut-brain connection, there's no such thing. It's colon, large intestine brain connection. It's your bacteria. Actually, they send all the messages and the communication into your pelvis that goes into your spinal fluid, into your spine, up to your brain to talk to your brain. Your bacteria will talk to your brain 9 times where your brain only talks to the rest of your body. 1 out of every 9 times that your bacteria talks to your brain. Who's really in charge? Your bacteria. So whoever you are that got rid of your large intestine, you better be on the ball. You need Senonian minerals. You need black diamond. You need to do black gold. You're going to also need to do curcumin cayenne 5000 to keep your infection and inflammation down. Okay? And guess what? You know why you got rid of your large intestine? Because you couldn't let go of your shit on an emotional or physical level. There was no better way to say it. Crap wouldn't have worked. And guess what? So instead of learning to let go of this stuff, you let go of your large intestine. So now guess what? Now you're going to have to really learn how to love yourself if you're going to hang around and have any kind of life.
That's the questions from the community on TikTok for today. I know you had one phone-in question.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. I would have forgot. 1 second. Go ahead, Heidi. Now, Heidi, where are you from, Heidi?
From Australia.
You're from Australia. Heidi, you're on live, okay? So don't swear at me or call me bad names.
Okay.
What are we talking about?
I think you've probably mostly answered my question. My daughter is now 10. She's had she has chronic constipation. So she was treated. She was born in Norway.
I want you to do me. I want you 1 second. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to do me a favor. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How was your pregnancy with her?
It was fine. Yeah, and 100% natural birth. But she was colic, we thought, when she was born.
Okay, well, if she was colic when she was born, you know, and if your diet was great?
Yes.
Well, then, listen, you won't like this. So, but you were stressed.
I don't think so. Not abnormally stressed.
Oh, really? Well, for a child,
no.
for the baby to have colic, okay, because you were breastfeeding, right?
Yes.
So was there any dairy in your diet?
Yes, there was.
Oh, there you go. Well, then it wasn't an organic diet because there's, so.
No.
Okay, well, I thought you said it was an all-natural, organic, no.
No, I wasn't off dairy at that time. I do limit my dairy and flour and sugar and caffeine and alcohol intake, all of that these days. I suffer from IBS myself.
Okay,
now.
1 second. So irritable bowel syndrome, even if you gave up all of that, if you still have it, then you're a stress monkey. That's what you are. You're a stress monkey. So
I am.
I know, but you were a stress monkey before you had her. You were a stress monkey during the pregnancy. What do you mean? What do you mean? Well, you gave birth and then you became one. Well, what do you mean?
No,
so I think we should tell people to stop having.
Emotions.
We should tell people to stop having babies because they'll stress out. No, you just never have learned how to actually control your emotions or master your emotions. And so when your daughter was actually inside of you and you were stressing out, that along with the dairy, that's what caused the colic. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yes.
I know, but I need you to understand that. So colic is actually inflammation of the colon. And inflammation of the colon is 2 things. You know when people say, you know that we hold 80% of our stress in our abdomen? No, we don't. We hold 80% of our stress in our large intestines. And that's why we feel like we're tying it in knots. Does anybody know why? Does anybody know why these negative thoughts and emotions go into the large intestine? Because nobody's going to go looking in our shit for them. See, and I swore again, but the reality is that you have to learn how to deal with things. You can't suppress things because they'll get suppressed in your large intestine. So if you had anxiety and you were on dairy, that's why she had the colic. Now,
Yes.
now that she's 10 years old, I think it was 5 years old in your thing you said that's when the problem really started.
Well, so over in Norway, they thought that she was milk protein intolerant. We went off dairy with her. It didn't seem to change things very much.
Oh, wait a second, though. Wait a second. You have to understand something. By the time that you take your daughter to the hospital, she already has a twisted bowel because it's been inflamed and tied in knots. She already has scar tissue in it. She also has dried fecal matter on the large intestine. Do you understand? Oh, you cannot go to a medical doctor and think that you're going to heal something. They're going to suppress the pain with drugs or wait till it gets so bad, pieces have to be cut out. All right?
Yes.
Okay, so...
Yeah, so there was a long process ahead, I guess. So, yeah, the dairy, obviously, initially we didn't see any change.
Well, you're not going to see... Okay, 1
pains.
second. You're not going to...
That's right.
1 second. You're not going to see change right away because you've got scar tissue
No.
and you've got inflammation, which is spasm sitting in there. Now, did they give you any drugs for her to take right away or anything?
No, they didn't. They didn't actually diagnose chronic constipation at that time. So it wasn't until we came to Australia and she was almost 6, 5.5 or so.
So
that
here-
they
here's the
started treating
deal.
her with Movicol.
Oh my God! So that just destroyed her bowel. That'll destroy her bowel. You do know that, right? So all of this can be turned around. But now that your daughter's 10, she will need some gentle, non-surgical to go in and pull those adhesions apart. She needs to do belly button therapy. Okay, she needs to even do clapping, where she starts clapping her abdomen. Okay, but I'm going to tell you something right now. Why don't you tell me what her diet is?
Well, so she's mostly off dairy.
Okay, done.
Obviously.
It's over. Okay, we're done here. I really want an intelligent mother to step up to the plate. She's mostly off dairy. So when you get a child that has had bowel problems for 5 years and you could give her one little curd or one glass of milk, that you might as well put an atomic bomb into her stomach.
Right.
Okay, next.
Yeah.
Next. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. You are not allowed to do anything except protect her. You know that dairy is a poison, and you still don't have her off of it completely. Now, is your husband getting in the way of this? He's saying, I don't want to give up my cheese. I don't want to give up my yogurt, my milk. Is that it?
He definitely has a diet that's not suitable for her, and
Guess what? Guess what? Okay,
you're
guess
making
what?
food for the family. Yeah.
He's the troublemaker, and guess what? You don't want trouble because you don't want to have to fight with your husband. So now your daughter gets to suffer.
I think what we've found difficult is, trying to keep her positive in the process of fixing the problem.
Wait a
and
second
she's
here. Can I
feeling
say
like she's
something?
missing
Can
out on
1
things
second?
too much.
Missing out on things. Well, guess what? When the parents give up those things that she shouldn't have, and they don't come into the house, okay? And when you sit down and you show her the science of how these products are actually, you do know that dairy is the most cancer-causing food that we eat today. You do know that, right?
Yes.
Well, then, but still, you have her eating it. No. 1 second. 1 second. You know what? If we could have you fall in love with you, and that you had unconditional love for yourself, you wouldn't put up with this. You wouldn't eat this, and you would make it really clear to your husband. So I know that if you're still giving cheese to her, which is destroying her. This is not about guilt, but it's destroying her health. Okay. I know that you are also bringing in other foods that she's eating. So let's get a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this, and she hasn't got a chance.
Yes.
So guess what? Let's just get really comfortable, and let's get her on as much drugs as possible so we can keep her comfortable until the inflammation and the scar tissue formation takes over and destroys the bowel, and then we'll get it cut out. And then nobody will have to worry about her being in pain anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess we've been trusting the doctors.
Oh, please
We've
stop.
seen
One
multiple
second. One
specialists along
second.
the way.
You and your husband are having trouble giving up your own addictions. So that's the
Well,
problem. Who
I've
buys the?
been able
One
to
second.
give it up myself. I've actually got that willpower. I find it difficult to to have her getting upset when she doesn't like any of the non-dairy yogurts,
Oh,
then I
wait a
think, okay,
second.
well,
Wait a second.
We'll allow
Wait.
the yogurt.
Wait a
Yeah.
second. Wait a second. You know what? I'm going to tell you right now. Coconut yogurt tastes better than dairy yogurt, but I don't know why.
Think so.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. You know what? We have a problem with the parents not making a complete change in the diet for themselves. The biggest problem I ever see is this. Is there still cheese in your fridge?
Yes.
Is there still dairy yogurt that your husband eats or something like that in the fridge, or you eat?
Yes.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done. Okay, so now, you know what? This is just a dysfunctional relationship. This is adulterated parents, okay? They can't give up their own addictions, okay?
Yeah.
And that's it. That's
Well,
it.
I suppose we've been told along the way that the dairy's not the issue. It's there's other things. And
Hold on, there is other things.
I've
One
continued
second.
to keep her mostly off it, but
One second.
if it's better to have her completely off it, like you say, then perhaps we should be doing that.
Oh no, there's lots of things. Why don't you just go and make a list of everything in your cupboard in your fridge, and then we'll have just a field day here, okay? This little girl doesn't have a chance. She lives with 2 terrorists, okay? I'm going to tell you something right now. I am not a happy camper, and people can think of me whatever they want, but I just want to say this right now. Parents are the problem. You know, somebody said to me, well, what do you think, Daryl? Well, I said, well, I think that if the only problem with children is they have to be raised by adults. If they could be raised by teenagers that are still flexible enough and still have enough love for themselves and care for themselves, you know, the reality is if your home doesn't become a health love zone, and if you don't keep out these inflammatory products, this girl hasn't got a chance. And the reality is this. She's only going to complain because you and your husband still eat this stuff. And the reality is, it's not like she's 10 years old. It's not like she's going to high school or going out with her teenage friends yet. You still have time to program her mind and make her believe that loving herself and caring herself and making beautiful, loving decisions is first and foremost, and that you do not decide to eat something that's going to make you sick because you're desperate for love.
Yes. Well,
Yes.
I think if someone had told us that we had to eliminate all dairy,
Listen,
and that was going to fix our
Heidi,
problems,
1 second.
5 years ago, we
I didn't-
would have done so.
I didn't say it was, Heidi, I didn't say it was going to fix all the problems, so don't take any words out of my mouth.
No.
Okay, just understand something. I already told you, one little glass of milk, one little piece of cheese is like shoving an atomic bomb down her, and then your husband, where it doesn't bother him, but it causes inflammation in every human being. Let me tell you. And every time that you crave a piece of cheese, that is the same as the heroin cocaine addiction for the brain. And that's it. And the reality is I know that I could find at least 20 foods in your house that are irritating her large intestine. So unless we're going to get the parents are going to finally grow up and know that they brought a human being into this life, and that everybody's going to have to just try to get over their addictions.
So you recommend no dairy. We also have her on very limited. So she's mostly gluten free. We limit her sugar.
Okay, first of all,
we try and hydrate
one
her
second.
enough.
1 second. Gluten-free products are dangerous.
Okay.
They're no good. This is for all the people that don't do any research. Gluten-free products are not nutritious. They irritate the whole system, even though there's no gluten in them. There's nothing left in them. Okay?
Yes, that's
No.
right. They're not nutritious.
No, the reality is I'm not going to tell you to get a perfect day consult, because I'd be scared that if you did, you and your husband would undermine it and then tell me it didn't work. Because the reality is you already knew that dairy was a big problem maker, right? You already know that the sugar in your house is no good. The flour products are no good. The chips are no good. You also knew that all the sugar and the candy that comes in the house is no good. You have to understand this, that, you know what? Okay, her large intestine is on fire. And so even you have to bring in soothing, nourishing, beautiful, gentle foods that say, hello, I love you. If you were even to give her, right now, this is why I wanted to say that, don't you dare tell me that, oh, if we knew that, we would have taken her off all cheese and dairy, she'd be well. No, you could give her broccoli right now or cauliflower and that would destroy her because it's too fibrous. So understand, now you've gotten to the point that guess what? Everything irritates her unless it's going to come in really soothing and gentle. But the problem is with milk and cheese and yogurt is they don't hurt you right now. They hurt you days later. You don't feel it right away, but you could give her some broccoli or cauliflower in a salad, and guess what? Within an hour, she'll be cramped right over, and then you'll be blaming the cauliflower and the salad, the broccoli, but it won't be that. You could give her some beans to eat, and that'll cramp her up because she doesn't have the digestive tract for it. So the reality is this: unless you want to look at her as a very oversensitive right now. Okay, remember the last time that you were so irritated and so angry at someone that if you just saw their face, it would just make you blow up? Well, guess what? Just having any food come down into the intestine, to the large intestine, has to come in like, I love you, I'm a friend. I'm not high fiber, okay? I'm not cayenne pepper. I'm not an irritant. I'm not going to irritate you. I'm going to soothe you. So listen, let me tell you something. Your problems have just started. She's got severe colitis and constipation, which means now she's pooping into her pelvis. Wait until she starts her period, and guess what? She's got blood clots coming out. Or the period is so painful, it doubles her up for days. Okay? All right? Just wait for that. Wait until you find out that she's got cysts on her ovaries. Or when she goes to become pregnant, that she's got scar tissue in her fallopian tubes because of the infection from the colitis, because she has a colon like a screen door pooping into her pelvis, creating the infection, the inflammation, the scar tissue formation that then puts scar tissue in her fallopian tube, or because of the infection in her pelvis, now she's got cysts on her ovaries.
Yeah, so she's been diagnosed with a slow large colon as
with
well.
A what? With a what?
It's her large intestine there's a slow colonic transit.
Oh, are we really going to fall for this? Are you going to really fall for the diagnosis of the slow transit? No, what you've got is you've got a bowel that's in knots and is spastic and doesn't like anything coming through unless it's going to be gentle and loving. I just told you. Okay, and the reality is, if something has inflammation, then on a continual basis, it's in contraction, it loses muscle tone. So eventually, what's going to happen, she's going to have a spastic colon that's sitting like a dead snake in her pelvis.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, you know what? I got to tell you something right now, okay? All right? Get the medical system to take their head out of her butt, okay? Because that's where it is. And you need to stop this.
So would you recommend, so recently for the first time in 5 years, we took her off the Movicol medication, and she went for 27 days between poos.
And guess what? If you would have been doing warm water enemas, okay, every day to help to soak this waste, and then what you should have put in the warm water enema would have been some pure aloe, okay, all right, and I already told you, belly button therapy. She needs to go see a Wolf non-surgical therapist so that they can go in and get rid of the adhesions that are already growing on her small and large intestine that are choking her off. You got to understand something. You've got 5 years of inflammation. 5 years of inflammation creates scar tissue formation. Her bowel is going to be so knotted up right now with adhesions. If we looked at it, it'd look like this super duper racing track all screwed up. And we'd say, my God, you're 10 years old. You look like you have the bowel of somebody who's had a couple cesarean sections.
Okay. sounds good.
You should try to
Are you
read.
there, Doctor?
You should try to read my book, Healthy to 100. And also, if you go into my library tonight and you go, How to Become Number One at the Art of Number Two, why don't you go and watch that with your husband, and then have him come on and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
All right? And I just want to say this.
right.
God love every parent, but guess what? Almost every parent is poisoning and even killing their children. God love them anyway. Okay. All right. And you know what? I get emotional about this because these little suckers don't have a chance. These little Braveheart spirits do not have a chance. They trust in their parents. And then their parents trust in the medical system that doesn't believe in detox, doesn't believe in nutrition, doesn't believe in unconditional love, and believes in suppression.
Yeah, I suppose with my IBS, having started looking into all of the dietary myself a couple of years ago, that's the only reason why I've put her on the similar diet, knowing that that's good
But she's
for her.
not on a similar diet. She is not on a diet enough to heal herself. So just forget it. It's not happening.
Yeah.
All you did
It's
was
not
say,
enough.
all you said, not enough. You said, I'll tell you what, honey, we have to negotiate with your father and his addictions and my addictions. So let's just turn the burner down from high to medium.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All right, thank you for your help.
You're welcome, love. And you know what? This is what I usually do. Piss people off, and then they calm down, and then they have a little time to think, and then they still don't like me, but then they change their life. That's great. Have a beautiful day, Heidi.
Thank you so much.
Love you, babe. Bye.
See you, bye.
All right. Thanks for joining us. I feel better. I think I need to go have a bowel movement. 3, 2, 1. I got this. You know, it's not good enough to have the most powerful courses, treatments, and training. We want to deliver to you the adventure of a lifetime that's going to last a lifetime. And I'm going to take you on a little adventure right now and show you what we are going to deliver. What are we going to deliver? We are going to deliver the authentic you, the real you, the genius inside. How would you like to become not just the master of your mind, but the master of your body, the master of your life? You know what? The most important world is your world, and we're about to show you how to create it. Never limit yourself to beautiful, because that's what you are. Take a look at this beautiful place. We all deserve beauty in our life. You need to create a new program that is unlimited when it comes to things that are beautiful, things that make you happy, things that make you shine, things that make you feel excited. Let's get excited. What I've learned in my life is this: to be the change you wish to be the change you wish to see, Braveheart, you have to understand you take life one step at a time. Never lose your focus. Never lose your dream, because you are the dream maker. It's called image, but guess what? It's your imagination. The image that you hold creates the thought that you live with. That thought creates an emotion that creates a frequency, and we know that the invisible creates the physical. I mean, that's quite obvious. So be the power that you seek, and understand something, that all your thoughts matter. And guess what? Unless you're willing to take a look at those thoughts and retrain your brain, change your personality, you'll never change your reality, and your reality could become infinite. You were created by your creator to create. So let's create something amazing together. So tell me what you think of the destination that I came up with my imagination to hold the whole life coach certification for you. Understand something. It's all about beauty. It's all about adventure. It's all about stimulating the mind, okay? And understanding that your mind is unlimited. And that is what the whole life coach certification is all about. In the whole life coach certification, we are going to go deeper. We have people coming to us, professionals coming to us, from doctors to nurses to accountants to oil riggers to mothers that want to expand their life. And when they come here, they go, I need to learn to help my family, or I want to improve my business. But guess what? We get into their business. When they leave, they become the change that they wish to see, that they wish to be. They become the gift to the world, because when you can stay in the present, and you can't do that until you have unconditional love and care for yourself. And I'll tell you something right now. I have hardly even found 1 out of 1,000 practitioners or even so-called whole life coaches that can hold the present moment and own it and then give it as a gift. And this is what I'm going to give to you. And when you come here, this is where you're going to come into this room when you need to find alignment, you need to find balance, and you need to get back into your lion heart breath, because we're going to go deep into your heart and we're going to become the spark that you seek. Come play, come stay, come train with us today. Understand something. I know we have fear, but understand, that's just false evidence appearing real. I get it. Stick your toe in, feel the water, but then I want you are the unconditional love that you've been looking for. You are the dream maker. I can't wait to see you. We want to become that small piece of the puzzle that brings your dream together. Thank you.